Hey, soul family, this is Sunset Child at Sunset Child Out There podcast. And it is a wonderful November, and we are getting ready for the turkey and the stuffing and the gravy. Yeah, it's gonna, I like Thanksgiving. I always do. I like when family gets together. And really, I just like when my family's together. That's it. I can eat. I can eat. Yeah, I can. I like to turkey and all that stuff, lay on the couch, the whole bit, the whole yada yada. I just want to thank. Also, too, I want to thank Eye Opener Society because I did a co-hosting show with Gary, which I think came out awesome. Um, and we had a really, really good time. And, Anne Lund, I wanna just say how proud I am of knowing her and having her as a friend and how awesome she is and rocking, with her podcast, because she's got awesome stories, to tell, and really, she really does, and she connects with things you wouldn't believe, so I'm really proud of her. And Oracle, she's got an amazing show as well. And just I'm just proud of everybody because they're doing so great. And I'm actually proud of myself too, because I'm really not to talk to myself. Like I've been more talking to myself, not having any arguments though, but that's good. Once we start having arguments, then that's bad. But I really been having like it's this is my third podcast. So I'm just doing just I feel a little more relaxed. I guess I would say I feel a little more relaxed. It takes me a little bit because you're sitting here, you're talking to yourself. It's a little bit different. That's why when I did the co-hosting with Gary, it was a little bit different because now you got someone with you, and it's a little bit, it gets a little bit, lonely when you're trying to talk and you're like, you don't want to sound like a nut either, but it's a learning experience. It gets you out of your comfort zone. I have to say, just really gets you out of your comfort zone. So I thank everybody. I even thank the audience. Thank you, whoever's listening. Thank you, because it's just just my podcast, and I'm just doing the way that I think I could do it. So let's move on. Thank you. So November, we got a November's episode, and it's it's fear. I would call it fear tactics in November. It's a fear tactic, and episode 3, fear tactic, and it's more like they're trying to distract you with fear. And that is the government, the media. You have all these different things that are happening. I call them entities, and I call them entities because sometimes you got them in your family, you got them as friends, you got them as coworkers. You have these beings that are in your frequency or are trying to bring down your frequency. And they come in and they may start an argument or tell you something that's horrible, or um blame you, or just to get a rise out of you, like just to get these rises out of you. And I think that when you do that, you're an entity. When like a narcissist, it's a fear tactic, and it's what is best known by governments, by places that we work with, management, and the companies that we work for sometimes, uh, family that's in our life, and you know we don't they say you don't create your family, but people are there for a reason, and in family, friends, and foes, or whatever you want to call them. And they come in and they exude these negative waves at you, and you have these waves, and you don't at first, you're not looking at it like that. You're looking at it as, oh, what, you know, they're angry, or they have something on their chest. They have to get it, they get upset, or you tick them off, or they ticked you off. Well, I don't think they should be doing that. That's how I feel. Because sometimes they're put there by the program. And when I say we're in the matrix and the simulation, we are in that, because you have to step out of the simulation and look into the life of what's going on in that simulation, and really look at it like a movie, like pull yourself out and then look in. See, they're going to be telling us that they're going to be, threatening of World War III, threatening of maybe a financial crisis, threatening of all the all stuff that would scare a human being. So us as people have to realize we're souls first and then a human, because we need to step out and look into the movie that we're in, because we're the main characters. Remember that. You're the main character of your story. Doesn't matter what story you have a story to tell. And everybody's on different timelines, on in different dimensions, in different places. Because sometimes if you look at somebody and you're like, wow, that's not real. Like, what's going on here? It's they're on a different timeline than you. But all our timelines are all coming together, and it's going to clash. They're all coming in as one. So that's going to bring us to an event that's going to be sound horrific, that sounds, oh my goodness, and people may not be able to handle it. But I don't know what the event is, and I'm not a fortune teller, I'm not a seer, I'm not a, I know that it's gonna be a scare tactic, a scare to make us fear. Do not fear, people. Do not fear, family. That do not. Whatever happens, whatever they say, that they're going to try and push it out to the masses. And remember, we are manifestors. So we are manifestors of our destiny, of our future, of our present. Stay in your present state of mind, and do not let them trigger you. Pull yourself out of the movie and look into the movie. That's the only way I can put it. Because once you take yourself out of the movie, then you can see what's really going on. And it's so wild how they go and they try to make it that it's the end of times. And they want to do that because they want the people who are religious to really, oh my God, we got revelations and all these different things that the four horsemen, the apocalypse, just remember that we are okay, because we surpassed all these different timelines to bring us to a safe place. And I'm only saying this because there's so much chaos and negativity being pushed out to the masses. And it's being pushed out so that people feel it. But cling to your families, cling to the good stuff in your life, cling to the things that make you happy. Even if you think it's and what they'll try and do is they'll try and shut all of it down. And that's going to be the big thing. If they shut things down, then that scare tactic's gonna be played out. And if that scare tactic is played out, keep being happy, don't be scared, like I said, and really stay centered for yourself and your family. Because after this, after everything's said and done, we'll be moving out into a better place. Because you got to remember, in order to move on into a better life, you have to collapse the old system. The old system brings in poverty, brings in scarcity, brings in hatred, brings in all these negative things. So if you can collapse that old system, wouldn't you want to collapse it? Because I would. And one of these guys, Akon, he said that, and I realized it was like a light bulb, and I went, "That is so true, so true." Wouldn't I want that old system to collapse so that a new system can be implemented? And when that new system is implemented, see, in 1929, when they did the collapse of money, the people were affected. The people were affected. 2008, they collapsed the financial system of the housing market. Do you remember that? Because I do. I was fortunate enough not to be part of that because my timeline was not that timeline. I was very fortunate not to be part of that. And I stuck to my listening to my higher power, my higher self. But you remember that 2008, all the housing collapsed and the people were affected. And then they gave all the money that we put in the bank to the companies, to the corporations, to the banks to keep them running because it was a Ponzi scheme. Of course, it was a Ponzi scheme. They had to make it look like they were doing their job. They weren't doing their job. They gave that money away. It was laundering money through. So now you have this laundering going through. The people are suffering. The people are losing their house. I think if it collapses this time, that the old system collapses who really needs to be collapsed. So really think about that. Because in my world, I would want the bad guy, which is the government if they're not doing their job, the banks if they're not doing their job, the corporations if they're not doing their job. They need to collapse and need to move on so that people are not affected. And if the people are unscathed by it, I hope so. Because then you know that we're on our right path. So if a financial system collapse, let's just say, the fiat system is no longer in play. And if you don't know what the fiat system is, Nixon in, 1970s, in the 70s, when Nixon was the president, he signed over from gold and silver to, boom, the fiat system, which is the oil. That's why the oil is making it makes a big chunk of money now because everything runs through the oil. So let's get back to what is God given, which is silver is precious metals, silver, gold, all those things. So if we get back to that world, I think we'll be good because that's what all these things are going to be coming soon. I mean, I'm not a financial guru. No. I'm not that. But I pay it. I really, since 2000, I've been paying attention to everything that's going on in the world and everything that's going on in America because this is what's been lost is that we got complacent with not knowing what's going on around us. We got so complacent that we have other people taking care of us, so to speak. We forgot that they work for us. We forgot that um, we need to check in, and we need to check in. You need to pay attention to the laws that are being passed, to all what's happening in the Senate, what's happening in the House, what's happening out there with the policies that are being passed. And are they affecting you, these policies? Sometimes we fall asleep. I call it the sleep. We're sleeping and we don't know what's happening. But when we wake up and we see things, don't be mad that it's not what you thought it was. That's what they count on. Let's figure out how to fix it and make it work. But if these old systems fall down, then they fall down. So be it. The financial, the government, or whatever is going on, don't be afraid because that's why you need to get with your communities. That's why you need to get with people. That's why you need to know how to garden, how to be a survivalist, how to turn your property into your asset, and how to work off your land and not need anyone except yourself and your family. And if you have a big family, God bless. If you don't, find friends, their family. Soul tribes, soul families are coming together. And I know I have a friend that's has a piece of land and invites everybody to come and is more family to people and to the soul tribe than to anybody that I know. And he's Nature's Whisper, and he's on TikTok, and he talks about his dealings with his property, what he has on his property. There's all these different things, but people are coming together. Communities are being made, and that's the future. I see that. That's the future. Making a community on your property or making a community with the property somewhere else with people. 100 acres and a mule, so to speak. And really getting out there and making things work together. Because if we could be as miserable as we can, then we could be we can work together as happy as we can. Because it's easier to be miserable than it is to be happy. So you got to work your magic and get out of that negative frame of mind and start looking in a positive direction, so to speak. And there are really things out there that really will enhance your heart. And there are people out there. Don't believe that there's not people that don't want to work or work together, or I hate people. When you hate people, that's because you're scared. You're scared. Because I say that all the time. I'd rather be left alone. But you don't want that old rhetoric. You don't want that old way. You want a new way. And we were born to be happy, prosperous, healthy. We were meant to be beings of light. So, and be with each other and cohabitate with people and be able to make anything happen on this plane. So when you go out, smile. When you go out, say hello to people that you never said hello to. Buy someone a cup of coffee. I always say that because, or tea, even that. And remember, there's always something out there. So keep looking, keep focusing on the good stuff that's happening around you. And I guarantee you, everything will be amazing for you. This is Sunset Child Out There podcast. Thank you. And have an amazing Thanksgiving. You might get this after Thanksgiving. So I hope you had a great Thanksgiving too.